And we're live at the Creative Commons Global Summit with some special guests, which I'll introduce in a moment. My name is Christina Hendricks. I'm with the Virtually Connecting team, and I'm connecting with 3 people who are attending the CC Global Summit right now, which I sadly couldn't attend. But I will turn it over to them to introduce themselves, and then we'll have a bit of a conversation about the conference so far.
Okay, maybe we'll start down here with you. And just...
My name is Sadek Shahad from Ghana. I'm with the Wikimedia Ghana user group, and we have a chapter, the CC chapter in Ghana.
Excellent.
I'm Razan. I'm from Jordan. I'm currently leading the CC Jordan chapter.
And I'm Chris Bourg. I'm the Director of Libraries at MIT. This is my first CC Summit.
Yeah.
Same here.
That's my first, actually.
All right, newbies.
Newbies rule. Maybe I'll start with you, Chris. How's your conference going? What are you enjoying? What are you seeing?
I'm loving it. I'm exhausted. Not surprisingly, like the content's been great, but it's been the chance to actually meet people from a bunch of different communities, both like geographically, but also who are working on, sort of cultural heritage and open internet and open technologies from different angles. I get too siloed in my little happy research library world. And it's just been so cool to meet people working on different things and to imagine collaborations that could come out of those conversations.
Great. How about you, Razan?
Yeah, well, it has been great, actually. We've been working on the designing the whole program for the summit. We've been working on it since maybe November. And honestly, I just had an impression in my head, but this now we're here now, it's even better than that I have imagined, which is really great because you can interact with all of these people. As you've mentioned, they're coming from different backgrounds, different cultures, but we all kind of share the same mission, same vision, and we're all trying to learn from each other. So it has been really positive. I've been super excited, also exhausted, but then it's worth all the tiredness that we have put into it. Yeah, really glad.
For me, I think it's a very great opportunity for me, coming all the way from Ghana to meet amazing people. Last year I was supposed to come to the same program, but we had visa issues. And I was fortunate this time around I got the visa. And I also got the opportunity to work with the advisory committee together with the RANO. And it was something that I've never experienced. And coming here to even meet them in person is a nice experience. I've learned so much so far. And I wish this conference never ends. Just continue. Unfortunately, I have to go back to my country.
What kinds of things do you think you're going to take away other than those relationships, maybe, Chris?
Oh, man. One of the things that I've been really struck by is there's a lot of energy in the rooms around, just around bringing sort of feminist and anti-colonialist and sort of really progressive and radical thinking to the open movement. And I hadn't realized how much of that energy was part of the Creative Commons community. And so I'm leaving here with more questions than answers, but with relationships and people to connect with to help tackle the hard questions. So I'm still back to relationships. Sorry, I'm a sociologist by training, not a librarian, so it's all about the social relations. Sorry.
No apology needed. And how about you, Razan? What kinds of things do you think you might take home with you?
I think it's about community and community building. It's about as you mentioned, it's about relations and human relations between the people, and how could you reflect this on your community, and how could you build stronger fabric of the society in your own context that you can maybe innovate in a way the work that you have seen, or the work that you have been put, or the work that has been put previously, and then maybe anticipate some new ideas, and maybe you can reflect it in a positive way and have this positive impact throughout the context that you're living in. It's this is the goal that I'm trying to reach now.
Okay, one thing I will take home is collaboration. You know, haven't I've spoken with a lot of guys who are doing different projects all together, and I think it's a great thing when we come together as a community to work together. We have different people who are working in open education, open line, you know, some are even from the Wikimedia Foundation. So it's one thing I learned is collaboration, and I think I'll carry it to my community. I'll encourage them to collaborate with other people who are doing similar things, because we are all in the same you know, cycle. We do the same thing together. So collaboration is key to our movement.
Great. Christina, do you have any questions for any of the
Sure.
team?
So are some of you scholarship recipients for Creative Commons Summit?
Mm-hmm.
Me.
Can you explain a little bit what that is, what that program is?
The scholar. Sorry, can you come again with the question? Maybe I heard it wrongly.
Yeah, can you explain what the scholarship program is?
Oh no, I have received the scholarship. I was not part of the committee, of the scholarship committee. No, I'm sorry.
So is it just a thing that allows people to attend who might not otherwise be able to attend, or?
Yeah, I think it gives them like an opportunity to like actually be here and actually like participate in this event, in this like in the CC Summit, because it would be like difficult, kind of impossible for me like to solely like come here. So with the help and the help with the scholarship that I have received, like I'm here now, and I'm like so glad to be among all of these like people and just, like get to know them on a personal level. So yeah, I think it has been like really great idea, and it's been had a like positive impact.
And Chris, I saw that you did a keynote.
I did.
I don't know when that was. Was it today? Was it yesterday?
Just this morning.
Yeah. It was this morning.
Glassy eyes and, and note about exhaustion. But yes, I did.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you were talking about for those who haven't seen it? I think it was streamed and possibly recorded.
It was streamed, and I think the video is still available. So I talked about, so the title of it was Open as in Dangerous. And I tried to build on some of what Catherine Mayer talked about in the first day's keynote. That she talked about the tensions of success. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was sort of this tension between this ethos of openness, right, and the real dangers of just a sort of uncritical, everything has to be open kind of stance, right? And so I tried to talk a little bit about what we're trying to do at MIT in terms of open access. I'm new to MIT, relatively new, 3 years, but it has a long history that predates me being leaders in open access, and we're trying to explore in a formal way what we want to do next. And one of the things that I wanted to do when Ryan Merkley asked me if I would do a keynote here was to sort of throw open what we're thinking about, like even at this really preliminary stage, because I want us to be open in the process so that we, you know, I feel like at an elite sort of Western Global North university like MIT, we are gonna be leaders. Whatever we do is gonna have outside influence. And so I want to make sure that, especially in a community like this, that I can get some feedback and sort of course correct if we need to. So I talked about that, and then I just tried to talk a little bit about what some of the dangers are around openness, and you know, the dangers of loss of privacy and loss of agency, loss of context for the materials, and the dangers of, if one of the things that I talked about was the sort of danger that if open access is primarily a movement that is latched onto by sort of elite Western research universities, that to make their own scholarship more available, then all we're doing is sort of recolonizing scholarship and knowledge. And I want to make sure that that's not what happens. So again, like for me, it's like the fact that CC gives out scholarships, I'm glad it's useful to you, but it's useful to me because I need to meet people, right? Like it's great, sure, it's beautiful to me, but selfishly, I'm like, yeah, like it's helpful to me. I need to learn from you, right? So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. So I mean, just because there are real dangers. Are there real dangers for you in Jordan? Are there real dangers for you in Ghana in terms of open work? Do you come up against any kind of barriers or concerns?
For me, I think it's publicity. We really need to do a lot of publicity. Last year, we had an opportunity to attend an open data conference in Ghana, which we hosted a lot of other West African countries, and our president declared that he was going to make data available for people, and that was an exciting thing to hear. And so what we really need to do is we have to do a lot of work getting people to understand what exactly CC is about. I think once we are there, a lot of people get to know more and people will be willing to share. And last year, personally, I introduced a couple of musicians to Jamendo and Free Music Archive, and some of them have started uploading their music. It's very sad when you meet people and talk about CC, or you are having a workshop, you are talking to people about CC, people are like, why should I share? Why should I share? So it's just like people don't understand why they should, share their work with people. So we really need to do a lot of work in terms of publicity advocacy. That's a challenge for the bank.
Hey, Jenny, can you maybe move the computer a little bit closer to that side so we can hear everybody?
Yeah, I have the snowball mic on. It's just maybe yeah. I don't want to block anybody though.
Yeah, no, you're right. Okay, that's better. That's good. Thank you.
Well then, okay. Well, the main challenge would be in our context is attribution. To be honest, like everyone likes to share. Everyone kinda, in a way, they have open access to knowledge, but then like it gets really mixed up when you don't attribute like scholars or researchers behind the work that they have done, and then you just like kind of take it without attributing them or giving them their credit, which gets a little bit maybe messed up. So and like people, they need to take the credit they deserve for the work that they do, even if it was open. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's open, it's yours. It's open, it's like for you to have an access to it, that you, because knowledge is power, so they're giving you an access to power, so might as well like you give them this credit and you attribute them. So basically this is how Creative Commons would be very useful in the Arab world, because like people, they just like, they're okay with their work being shared, they just like need to take the credit for it. So I think we have a lot of opportunities in CC in the Arab world. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. All right, Christina, what kind of time do we have?
I think we said we'd go until 1:10, but it's always up to the on-site participants how much time they have. We've been joined by Nate Angel.
Oh, great.
I don't know if I've said your name correctly, Nate, your last name. I don't know if you have anything you'd like to ask.
Oh, yeah, it's just Angel, simple as can be.
Okay.
Sorry for the extra L, it messes it up. But yeah, I'm really glad, sorry that I was late. I'm really glad to have joined this session. I was in a couple of the earlier sessions for Virtually Connecting today, but I'm really happy to see this group of folks. And one of the things that we talked about in some of the earlier sessions, I think kind of touches on what you guys have been talking about, and that's how so much of the work that's happened so far around, I'm thinking especially open education, but other fields of open too, have been happening at the center of economics and power in the world, in North America, in Europe. And there's this idea that maybe we should reach out beyond that. And it really came the other direction, which resonates with something you're saying, and saying like, let's put our energy into the periphery, and then the good things can flow back to the center from that. So instead of thinking of all the good things coming from the center and going toward the periphery, instead reverse the direction. And it came up specifically with translation. So instead of thinking that we would produce everything in English first and then translate it, reverse that and say, let's produce materials in localized languages that make sense for the people who really need them. And then maybe they should be translated into English for wider use. So it really resonated me with what you guys are talking about in terms of the value that inclusivity brings to the center, so to speak, for lack of a better term, to the dominant culture, just even more so than maybe whatever the dominant culture is doing for, the periphery.
For example, what kind of languages are you working in Ghana? Do you have multiple languages, and how are you creating those resources?
We are working with only English.
Okay.
But the other thing we do has to do with Wikipedia. So we are trying to localize some of the content. Most of the articles we have right now, we have 3 languages in Wikipedia. We have Dabani, Tree, and Ga, one of our local languages. So we are trying to create articles on them so that people can also read in local languages. But for Creative Commons, we are currently dealing with English.
Okay. Yes. So in terms of open educational resources, in some of the sessions I've been in, they are talking about this reverse model where storybooks for young children, for example, are created in very underserved languages, and then they're shared back to, if desired, shared back to the English-speaking world so that we can be more culturally literate, right? Your illustrations in your children's books and the stories that you tell in your culture are so rich and beautiful, and we would love the opportunity. I would love the opportunity to share that with my kids. I have young kids; they're older now, but what kind of headway do you think you could make in creating those resources in those languages as a start?
Okay, so right now we just need to get connected to the right people who, for now I can't think of anybody in the community who is, so versed with the open education. So we are just trying to get more information from the conference. I've participated in a couple of sessions here. So I have gotten a lot of insights, and I've taken a lot of contacts that I'm going to connect with. I'm also in the open education platform, so I get to learn more from people. There's one colleague from Barcelona who was talking. He had a very good initiative that he's trying to put across, translating these kind of things into local language. So we are just looking for more of these opportunities to be able to work effectively and getting these things into our local language.
Great. And Razan, how about for you in Arabic in Jordan? Do you have creators that understand enough about Creative Commons licensing that they would share their works in Arabic?
I'm going to say yes and no at the same time, because sometimes people they have different sets of tools that they use, but they don't actually have the full picture of all of them. But in terms of Arabic content, we try as much as we can to have a bilingual kind of content, so that it is localized, but at the same time we needed to globalize all the works so it would be exposed for other people in other cultures, since English is speaking language of the whole world. So it's kind of we need the people to see what we do, to have an idea of whatever we do, and at the same time we always start by having an Arabic content of anything that we're trying to do. So I kind of, it's in a way we're kind of looking for an inclusive, comprehensive kind of picture, so that some people they don't know how to speak in English in the Arab region, because we have people they only have one language, which is Arabic, and other countries they speak either Arabic or French, so that we can have as much as we can and be as comprehensive as we can.
All right, Christina, I'm thinking we have to wrap up. I'm seeing some hand signals.
That's totally fine. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today, taking time out of what I know is a very busy and exciting but exhausting conference schedule. So we really appreciate it. And thanks, Nate, for joining us. And thank you, Jenny, for helping out.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Great to virtually both of you, Nate and Christina.
You too.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Take care.
Okay.
Glad to meet you all. Goodbye.
Bye.